Hello, everyone. Today we're here to talk about accommodation suggestions for common conditions and limitations. My name is Erin Metz. I'm a senior accessibility specialist with the Disability Equity Office, joined today by Katrina Johnson, providing ASL interpretation. So let's begin with talking about what is a disability. The legal definition of disability under the ADA is a mental or physical impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activity. It can also include a history of this type of impairment, even if that condition is not currently affecting you. Substantial limitation does not solely mean that your condition is severe, but that it creates an impairment when compared to most people in the general population. This definition is meant to be considered quite broadly, so as to not be restrictive. Most importantly, the assessment about whether an individual's condition rises to the level of a disability is made on an individualized case by case basis. Major life activities are those functions that are important to most people's daily lives. These can be specific tasks, like those that are on the left side of the screen. These are activities like bending, hearing, talking, walking, and even performing manual tasks. But they can also be major bodily functions or systems like those on the right side of the screen. These are things like circulatory, digestive, or endocrine systems, or even brain, bowel, and respiratory functions. If it is determined that you do have a mental or physical health impairment that substantially limits your ability to participate in one or more daily life activity, you can then seek reasonable workplace accommodations. Accommodations are modifications or changes to your job or to your work environment that allow you as an employee with a disability who's qualified for your job to perform the essential functions of that job and also enjoy the benefits of your employment. So now that we know what a disability is, I want to take some time to talk about some specific conditions and limitations someone may experience, along with some of the supportive options that may be available. Like I mentioned before, an individualized assessment has to be conducted to determine what specific barriers are faced by the employee and what are the functions that are essential to the job role before determining if an accommodation option may be reasonable. But before we talk about accommodations, let's take a second to talk about inclusive environments. Some individuals may only experience barriers from their condition in certain environments, so they may not need accommodations in order to perform their job. However, when they find themselves in a non-inclusive environment, they may experience more limitations that affect their ability to work. So if an employee does experience those limitations and barriers with their work, that's when we want to consider accommodations. For more information on how to create inclusive environments, you can view our previously recorded workshops that are online and in our ongoing series of workshops as well. If you've never heard of the Job Accommodation Network, or JAN, it's a fantastic and free tool available to anyone seeking information about workplace accommodations. JAN allows you to search by specific disability categories, by limitation, by the actual work-related function someone might be having difficulty with, also by topic or specific accommodation. JAN has a lot of scenarios and unique options to consider, and you can visit their website at askjan.org. When it comes to identifying accommodations for employees, there are a few key questions that should be considered. What specific limitations or barriers are being experienced by that employee? How is that employee's condition affecting their work? What specific job tasks are creating difficulty for the employee? And what accommodation options are available to reduce or eliminate the limitations or barriers? So we want to keep these key questions in mind as we look through our next slides. The first condition we're going to talk about is allergies. If the allergy is severe and rises to the level of a disability, like that definition we went over earlier, that's when we start looking at options like finding a way to remove the allergen from the workplace. We can also consider using alternative workspaces, increasing ventilation or using HEPA filters, We can also use air purification devices or provide the employee with access to masks or other protective clothing. We need to remember that not everyone is going to find these options effective. We need to perform an individualized assessment to determine what specific barriers the individual is facing. What are the functions essential to the job? For some people, they may need just one of these options. Others may need a combination of solutions to create an effective accommodation. If an employee has an anxiety or other mental health condition, they can find support via flexible work schedules, an increased number of breaks during the day, use of a private break or work area, or utilization of a service animal. Perhaps attending meetings virtually could also be an effective solution, or even having advanced access to agendas or outlines when attending meetings, events, or conferences. For individuals with ADD, ADHD, or other conditions with limitations of attention, concentration, or focus, some accommodation options could be utilizing a structured break schedule with a physical outlet. A physical outlet like a walk, practicing yoga, stretching, or some other exercise could also be beneficial to relieve stress, which could then improve the ability to concentrate. Many people also find physical activity assists with maintaining levels of energy throughout the day, which can also assist with focus. Additional options include minimizing auditory or visual distractions, minimizing or removing non essential job tasks, using checklists, assistive tech and software programs, or even generative AI. For employees with auditory and visual limitations, some accommodation options can be to reduce those auditory and visual distractions, use of written instructions or written tasks, and having access to agendas and notes. Employees may also need materials provided in alternative formats like Braille or use of videos with captioning or ASL interpretation. There are also many assistive tech products, screen readers, and speech to text software programs. Some employees may also benefit from having additional time to complete some of their work tasks. For employees impacted by chronic pain or chronic fatigue, some solutions can be the use of additional breaks. Modified or flexible work schedules can also be beneficial, particularly for individuals who have an increase in pain and fatigue at particular times of day. Ergonomic equipment like chairs, desks, keyboards, and mice can also assist those with limitations of pain and fatigue, as well as the use of reduced or alternative lighting, like a task lamp rather than an overhead light. Another common option is the use of fans or space heaters or other temperature control devices. People with diabetes or other similar conditions may need access to storage areas for medications, as well as syringe disposal containers. They may also need access to private spaces for testing their blood sugar or for administering medication. They can also benefit from additional break periods, having access to food or beverage as needed, or the use of service animals in their workspace. Individuals with epilepsy or other seizure disorders may find accommodation options of modified work schedules with additional break periods helpful. Many find support from flicker-free monitors or screen filters, reduction of glare from windows or overhead lights, access to light filtering lenses, like the blue light filtering lenses the person in this image is wearing, and they may also need access to private areas for rest or for a break. There are many different conditions that may fall into the category of limitations impacting the immune system, so accommodation options are varied. Some of the most common solutions are avoiding infectious agents and chemicals which may be present in the workspace. This often refers to spaces like medical centers or animal care facilities. Other options could include an increase in housekeeping or cleaning of the workspace, a modification of the work environment to limit exposure to other individuals whenever possible, access to a private workspace, or even remote or hybrid work schedules. Because this is such a varied category, an individualized assessment is imperative to determine what the employee's specific needs are related to their job function. For those with learning disabilities, some accommodation options are having access to additional training or increased time spent training with someone. This could also be an opportunity for more one-on-one meetings with a mentor or a supervisor to ensure the employee's questions are being addressed in a helpful way. Employees can also request access to alternative format materials, job coaches and mentors. They can use organizational tools or planning tools and have access to a variety of different supportive software programs. Long COVID comes with a really wide range of limitations as well. So, this is another instance where that individualized assessment is going to be very important. Some people may find success with accommodations like modified schedules, use of additional breaks, using ergonomic equipment, having access to fans or heaters to help with temperature control, and also having access to food or beverage when needed. Some individuals may also need to modify how they perform their physical tasks. For example, rather than picking up and moving boxes, they may need to use wheeled dollies or carts. For other individuals, they may need to look into supportive measures like hybrid or remote work schedules. Memory is another limitation with a lot of options, including access to additional training opportunities, use of software programs, calendars, or planners, and also using checklists or organizers. Written instructions and tasks are also common accommodations used by those with various conditions with memory related limitations. Some of the most common accommodation options for individuals who experience migraines are access to alternative lighting or having the ability to modify the lighting in their workspace as needed. They may also seek access to private work or break areas, noise reduction products like headphones or sound dampening panels, the use of additional breaks, or even a flexible work schedule. Temperature control in the workspace is also a common supportive measure to reduce the frequency of migraines. Some accommodation options for people with skin conditions are to seek work attire or uniform modifications. This could look for some like using a different material in clothing or different articles of clothing altogether. Other options include the use of temperature regulating devices like warmed or cooled clothing, or also fans and heaters. Others may need to ensure their uniforms and workspaces are cleaned or laundered with fragrance or chemical free ingredients. Some may need the use of additional personal protective equipment or clothing, and some may need access to UV light filters, particularly those who may work outdoors. We're now going to go through some helpful information about some products that many employees who have worked with our office have found helpful. We are not advertising or promoting any of these specific products. We've just received feedback from users that we'd like to share with you. On this slide, we've provided a list of links to products and examples that may be helpful for those who want to further explore assistive tech products. Assistive tech is a blanket term for programs or hardware that replace standard technology to enable and enhance access for disabled users. The University of Michigan has a standard practice guide for the Electronic and Information Technology Accessibility Policy, which requires everyone at UM to create and maintain accessible tech to support and accommodate individuals with any type of disability. Each of these topics can be explored in depth at accessibility.umich.edu/assistive technology. Some of these programs are screen reader and magnification software, voice recognition programs and note-taking software, and also alternative keyboard and mice. Natural Reader is a text-to-speech tool that can be used in a variety of ways. There's an online version, which allows you to copy and paste or drag and drop text into your web browser with the ability to choose a preferred voice and talking speed, which is shown in the image on the top of the slide. There's also a free Chrome extension that reads web pages and Google Docs, and that link is shown in the bottom image on this slide. There's also a premium version, which then has access to MP3 conversion and lots more premium voices. This tool can be helpful for individuals with learning disabilities or disabilities that impact processing or concentration. There are many other text to speech tools also available, including Read and Write, Speechify, and programs that are built directly into other software programs like Microsoft Word, Adobe Acrobat, and even features specifically for Mac machines. Traditionally, a computer user accesses a computer with a standard point and click mouse and a keyboard. But individuals with physical, sensory, or developmental limitations may not be able to use a traditional mouse and keyboard and may benefit from using voice or speech recognition that allows the user to dictate text. Many kinds of voice or speech recognition products exist. Some examples include software like Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is available for PC, or Dragon Dictate, available for Mac. In addition to dictating text, these programs allow the user to perform mouse functions via spoken command. There are also specific versions related to legal or medical work. There's also Windows Voice Access, which is a free program that allows a setup to take you through a speech recognition wizard, which will help train your computer to understand your own voice. Mac also has a voice control option, which is free, and it works similarly to the Windows Voice Access. There are a multitude of products and software programs available to assist with executive functions like concentration, memory, and attention to detail. We're not promoting any of these products, but we have heard from users that they've found success using products like Asana, Sunsama, Todoist, and Trello, just to name a few. Monday.com is another executive functioning product. It's a cloud-based work system that can help teams organize and manage their work. The image on this slide shows a table of projects, which is then broken down into segments of tasks that are still in the planning phase versus those that have been executed. The table includes columns that show the owner of each project or task, its due date, status, timeline, and notes. Project management systems can vary based on features, display, and preferences, also their price. But positively, the majority of these systems do offer a free trial that allows users to assess which program is going to work best for their needs, their working style, and their preference. Loop earplugs are a frequently requested accommodation as they work to filter noise and the volume of extraneous sounds, which helps to make those sounds more manageable. These are especially helpful for individuals who have difficulty focusing when there's a lot of background noise in their working environment, and also for individuals who have difficulty blocking out sound in order to acquire adequate sleep. Loop's website offers a free quiz to help users find the best product match for their needs, whether they're for focus, fun, or for sleep. They can range from approximately $20 to $60 for their earplugs. There are also many products available for the office or workspace. If you need anti-glare or blue light reducing screen filters, fluorescent light filters, dictation devices, or white noise machines, we've provided several links to a variety of products here on this slide. Another interesting product is the Cube Shield. Cube Shields are lightweight and easy to install and help reduce screen glare and overhead lighting. They can also help to minimize visual distractions and enhance an employee's privacy in their workspace. This type of product works well for employees who have light sensitivities and those who would like to darken their work area or limit exposure to harsh overhead lighting without a high burden on modifying the facility or structure of the workspace. These products can range in price from approximately $25 to $50. There are currently more ergonomic products on the market today than ever before, making them far more accessible. So we've got some links here to help get you started in your search. Things like anti-fatigue mats, wrist and forearm supports, ergonomic chairs, keyboards, mice, and monitor risers, to name a few. So now that we've gone through and identified some accommodation options that can help address the limitations and barriers that employees might experience at work, let's find out how we request a reasonable workplace accommodation. A request for accommodation simply needs to let your employer know that you're seeking assistance with job functions due to your disability. There are no magic words required, but frequently, these are the examples of statements that employees use when requesting an accommodation. So it may sound like, I need an accommodation for noise canceling headphones. I need help with focus and concentration while working. Or I'm having a hard time moving heavy boxes. When it's time to request an accommodation, employees have options for where to get started. They can contact the Disability Equity Office, their supervisor or HR rep in their unit, or can connect with mHealthy Ergonomics for an assessment of needs with a physician referral. If you're Michigan Medicine staff, you should connect with the Michigan Medicine HR Solution Center. Regardless of which path you choose, we hope this information has given you some ideas about how to find success in your workplace.